Welcome to the channel, Nikhil from American Law. It's a pleasure once again, my friend.
Thanks for having me again.
So, today is the developer's bubble. Everybody's been talking about. I have some inserts from various newspapers that I downloaded, and you will be able to get these sources down in the link below, and you will see everything on the screen, what I'm kind of reading here. But they said here, August 27, 2023, the pain is real. Why the segment of GTA real estate market is starting to see more distressed buyers. So that was in August, right? So us realtors, we kind of see some of these things ahead of the time, 30, 60 days, maybe even 90 days. We can forecast some of these things. So what has changed since August till we're in November right now? So we're talking few months, like a solid quarter. Have you seen more distressed sales? Have you seen more pressure on buyers or sellers, or what's the activity like?
I think we're seeing a mix of things. One is that we're definitely seeing a lot more distressed buyers. From the resale point of view, people are having trouble closing on properties that they bought a couple of years ago. So closing on pre-construction that they bought within the last 3 to 5 years. And so a lot of people are encountering situations where obviously appraisals are coming back lower. Some builders obviously are decreasing their prices just to make sure that people can actually close on these properties. But a lot of people don't have the funds to close because when they bought these pre-construction, obviously they were appraised at higher values at that time. So people that bought pre-con, that's very, very common, a common thing we're seeing in the market, them not being able to close, and in turn them walking away from their deposits and risking getting sued by the builders.
So when they walk away, and we'll get into this a little bit further more into this video, what does that mean exactly, walking away? You lose your deposit, but are you still on the hook for the difference?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and we're getting asked this question a lot because a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what, I don't want to close because first of all, the interest rates are very, very high, even if I can close. But even if they come up with the funds, they borrow money or do a private. But the other thing is they don't realize if they walk away from this and even forfeit their deposit, hypothetically, the builder can still sue them for any loss the builder incurs. What does that include? Well, obviously the difference in price. If somebody sells for $500,000 when they sold it to you for $800,000, the builder, then they're going to sue you for the difference.
For the difference of $300,000 in this case.
Yeah, minus your deposit.
Wow.
So what people don't understand is builders generally have 2 years to sue you from the date of loss. So not only that they're going to sue you for the difference of their loss, they're also going to go after you for any legal fees that they've incurred too, which can add up because these builders don't use small firms. They use reputable firms downtown.
If these builders survive, and you're going to see down the line. So let's continue here. So this is from Toronto Star by Claire Franstein, reporter. It says, cracks are starting to show in Toronto's pre-construction housing market as financial pressures not only stall future projects, but some industry experts are also seeking an uptick in purchasers putting their properties up for sale. So now we're seeing both. We're seeing the resale tick up, and we're seeing the construction or pre-construction or new developments not able to close. So we're seeing inventory from both ends, right? So it's a mess. And this was from August. So this was from August. So big news, VANDYK.
Yes.
So, VANDYK development. So what is happening here? I mean, in this newsletter from Stories, they're saying VANDYK property is facing receivership over $203 million in debt.
So unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of big reputable builders who are facing financial constraints.
They're big.
Yeah, so with VANDYK, the story is that they're on the verge of going to receivership. I mean, that's going to be a huge issue because obviously they have multiple projects across the GTA and surrounding areas. So once a builder goes into receivership, essentially there's someone being appointed to handle their debts. So in this specific scenario, based on this article, they were about $203 million in debt. So that's an issue because what's going to happen now to the people that bought into these projects through VANDYK, now they're calling the builder, emailing the builder or builder's lawyer, trying to get their deposits back. But the issue is what's happened with those deposits. Are they in a lawyer's trust account? Are they in a builder's trust account? What have those deposits been used towards at the end of the day? So people's first fear is that, will I get my deposit back? And that goes into kind of the Tarion thing, where how much of my deposit is actually protected, right?
Which we'll get back into at the end here. So this is definitely a big one. VANDYK has been in Toronto and GTA, like acquired some amazing parcels of land, like in Mimico and per se, like they hit the very well known craftsmanship. The builder is an amazing builder, right? Like a lot of clients from back in the day, when even just like walking up to our project or a building, like it's almost sold, right?
And that shows you these bigger builders are also not insulated from these issues that are happening in the market, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was VANDYK. So this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is from a blog TO. Desperate Ontario builders are literally giving away gold bars to lure home buyers. So further here it says, real estate developers in Ontario have taken a new level of desperation involving the market and all that stuff. So in particular, if you're interested in a new subdivision of single-family detached homes in Woodstock, Ontario, known as the River and the Sky, in gearing up to launch, the project is attempted to lure the buyers with the promotion offering 500 grams, which is half a kilo, staggering $45,000 a pop. So that's the value of that gold bar, right?
Insane.
So what are they trying to do? They're basically trying to give you a gold bar if you buy one of their homes.
Yeah. So I think a lot of builders are taking a different approach and trying to have these transactions close, these new builds close. I guess one of the ways is builders are giving these incentives, for example, in this situation, gold bars. I've also heard of some builders giving to a select few cars, luxury handbags, Rolexes as well. So this has been happening for the last couple of months, I would say. But this gold bar one seemed to have made the news with the blog TO article.
It's a lot, like $45,000. Well, I guess it's a price of a vehicle, too, right? Like
So I guess that's one way of incentivizing people to try to close on these properties, because the builders obviously have their financial obligations, as did VANDYK or bigger builders that have gone down in Toronto. So I guess they're at a point right now where they're trying to get people to close by giving them these gold bars or cars, Rolexes, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you can also do what other builders are doing, where you just kind of negate the purchase price or reduce it, where bigger builders have done that. Because some people couldn't afford to close on their properties. And what the builder said is, you know what, we'll decrease the price by $50,000, $100,000. And there was one post that I saw on Instagram, I don't know how accurate it was, but somebody had actually talked about a builder who had reduced the price by $200,000 for some of their new builds, because the appraisals, I guess, had come back lower. So I guess gold bars is reducing the price is another way, right?
I guess it's one of the same. Like I heard on another builder, it's actually in the US. They will pay 5 years of your interest on your mortgage for 5 years.
Okay.
Equivalent to, I don't know, a couple of $100,000, or like I don't know, these properties are like in $1 million plus. But I mean, I think at this point it's obvious that everyone is hurting and whatnot. So this is definitely interesting, giving gold bars. Like I give you that.
Yeah.
So elephant in the room.
Yep.
Okay. So it's called D1. If you have not heard, the iconic Toronto project placed into receivership due to $1.6 billion. And it says here the land was acquired for $300 million almost a decade ago. With the plan of developing 85 stories, some mixed, commercial units. Apple Store was one of their tenants. That I don't know what happened. I guess that went off the books.
Yep.
It was the tallest residential skyscraper in Canada. I think it's in Canada. Toronto for sure.
Yeah.
Toronto for sure, but I don't know in Canada. But it's funny. It says here the price tag of the project ballooned from $1.4 billion into $2 billion very quickly, right? So
it's a lot of money.
It is unfortunately to see this Mizrahi group or the development, they have developed some of the smaller projects along the way in Toronto and whatnot. I don't know how many units, probably a couple of thousand. So it was interesting for me to see someone, and I'm not trying to knock anybody here, but it's like somebody who did only a couple of thousand units get into the biggest development of Toronto, acquiring $300 million land and a parcel of land and stuff like that. So what's happening here exactly, Nick? This is the elephant right here.
So from what I've heard and from what I've read is that they had outstanding debts to lenders, contractors, and I think one of the bigger lenders was a foreign lender. I can't remember where. It's somewhere in Asia, I believe.
Yes.
So they stopped making their payments, and also there was payments that weren't made to other people that they owed money to, such as contractors. So to get into $1 billion worth of debt doesn't happen, within a year. That's something that's accumulated over time. But what's unfortunate was this was obviously a project that was advertised all over. I saw it when it was first being advertised. And Apple also had confidence in it, and they had a vested interest. Now, I don't know if people know this, obviously they're getting sued by multiple creditors, but they're also getting sued by Apple, which is a big deal. And I'm assuming that they had a long lease in there because Apple's not one of those companies who's going to come in and sign like a 5-year lease.
6-month lease, of course. Yeah, it's a gameplay.
So in this specific situation, the biggest fear is for people that bought into this project, because you're going to have investors, you're going to have end users, you're going to have people that put their life savings into this project because obviously the units weren't cheap. So, I can go into the conversation of deposit protection, but one is that people think that hopefully they can get their full deposit back. With that being said, if you don't get your full deposit back, how much is protected? So if you're buying a condo, Tarion only generally protects $20,000 worth of your deposit. And these units were, I'm assuming, probably in the, I don't know.
Well, there's nothing you could have picked up under, $700,000.
Yeah.
And they went I think their penthouse is selling it 30 some odd million dollars.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knows who's gonna purchase that? Yeah. Good luck, whoever does. But I don't know how this will pan out now with everything that has been going on with this project, iconic project of Toronto. But having said that, even here, I noted down. It says 346 residential suites sold so far. 70 were above 50 floors that haven't sold. So you can imagine, right? Like each floor you go up, the more expensive it gets, the more luxurious it gets, the bigger it gets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they have 70 units that haven't sold, and all 70 were from 50 floors and up. So this is definitely concerning, and like you have mentioned here, the deposit from Tarion, and Tarion is, what is Tarion? Briefly just explain to the viewers. So Tarion is someone that protects.
Yeah, so what Tarion does is it protects you with the various warranties. The biggest warranty, which is relevant in today's market, is deposit protection, but it also protects you against any defects in the property. And obviously it ranges, foundational, water issues, those kind of things. But people keep asking us that about pre-construction, specifically pre-con condos, what's going to happen to their deposits. So Tarion will essentially act as an insurance for your deposits. Obviously the builder has to be registered with Tarion as well. Yeah. So at the end of the day, people that bought condos, as I mentioned before, are only insured up to $20,000. People that buy freehold properties, if it's below $600,000, you're generally protected for about $60,000. If it's above $600,000, up to $100,000. So it's not a significant amount of protection because obviously prices have gone up in Ontario, GTA specifically. So if for some reason they're not able to get their deposit back from the builder, for any reason, whether the money was redirected out of a lawyer's trust account or it went into a builder's account, it was used towards a project, Tarion would only protect you for these condos up to $20,000.
Up to $20,000?
$20,000, yeah. So
in some of these cases, we have Tarion that will protect you up to $20,000. What happens to the rest? So really,
one option which a lot of people are kind of putting on the table right now is sue the builder. But at the end of the day, if a builder is going into receivership, they already have significant amount of debt.
Right.
So builders are not, for lack of a better word, they're not stupid. They've already protected themselves.
Right.
So they're going to probably pay off the creditors that they owe money to the most, the lenders, the contractors, if they have enough money to kind of get from the assets that they decide to liquidate. But second will come the people who, well, not second, but probably, hopefully, within the last
within the last 20, right?
Yeah, whatever. So like whatever it is, and it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, when you're buying pre-con, I think people should definitely be aware of the risks of this happening. But we've really, in my opinion, never seen this happen, and I don't think it's going to get better. It's probably going to unfortunately get worse at this point because these builders do have outstanding loans on the properties that they bought, the acquisitions that they've made. So they're hoping that at the end of the day that they can use the money that they're getting from these buyers to help fund these projects. So if there's not enough funding and if they owe their creditors this much money, what's going to happen to the people that actually, put down their deposits on the projects?
Horror story.
Yeah.
So basically, we're heading into an era of developers bubble. This is what it is, unfortunately, and it's hard to acquire any money, and even for these developers and the builders, they also have to pay a significant amounts of interest and riding out this wave that is kind of hard to ride out for all of us. If you're going to a similar situation, please comment below. We would like to know if there's any other builders, or if you are facing any issues. Maybe there's help. Maybe Nikhil here from Marital Law can look at your paperwork, try to find maybe a solution, maybe try to help you out here. But if you're going through any of this, what we have mentioned, please comment below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Alice.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.